Hey, Mike Nelson here with Real Estate Fanatics for another video. Today we're going to talk about how to be a great, not average, a great real estate agent. However, before we begin, would you guys click the subscription button down below, click the notification bell, and like our videos if you find value in this. Lastly, put some comments in there for us, and we're happy to collaborate. If you stick around to the end of today's episode, we will give you an opportunity to share any of our systems with you. All you have to do is put in a request, and we will get those over to you. We have systems across the board for everything we do, our databases, our lead gen strategies, you name it, transaction coordinator strategy, so on and so forth. Happy to share any of that with you. So the million-dollar question is, here's the statistic. 87% fail in our business or turnover in 5 years. 87%. That means there's only 13 of 100 that stick around after 5 years. The numbers are even a little scarier than that. Is 50% fail out as a new agent in their first 6 months. So you figure already, if you start with 100, right, you got 50 after 6 months, and then after 5 years you have 87% of that 50. So it is a crazy number, and I just believe it's because it's a low barrier of entry to get in. You just have to spend a couple $1,000s, probably no more than, to get started in the business, take a few tests, so on and so forth. However, today's topic is more about how to be great, and I think a lot of that is set up based on your fundamentals. A lot of that set up by failing forward. The great agents did not do this perfectly. I promise you that. They have lost a ton of money. They've made a ton of money. They have had some long nights. They've had some short nights, right? It's just across the board. So the very first thing that I would start with and say, skills. You have to acquire the skills. Now, skills are not going to happen overnight. You're going to learn through doing, and a lot of that's going to be failing forward. Like, I can sit here and tell you all day long, like, this is the 10 steps you need to take for your next 10 steps. You're probably going to do 5 or 6 of them because you're going to think I'm full of crap on 4 of them, right? However, failing forward, we'll learn that probably Mike was right based on his experience in doing those 10 steps, right? But we're humans and we want to sort of do things our own way and tweak it and twist it and whatever. The reality of it is, you got to develop skills. Now, so that's kind of a big word, and that encompasses a lot of things, but you got to know what to say, when to say, and how to say it, right? You don't do that unless you practice that with a lot of people. For me, I'd rather not always be practicing that on clients because that's lost opportunities when I'm saying stuff that I could have said differently. I'd rather get in a room with people. I'd rather go get with my parents. I'd rather go get with my nephews, my friends, my whatever, and practice my presentations all day long. Like, be good at it. And, oh, by the way, your presentations are not static. They're going to change based on the market. Like right now in 2022, it's now July 16th. We are seeing a change in the market over the last 60 days, and it happened quickly. Guess what? We have to shift our presentations now. It's an ever-moving, fluid type business that you're always adapting. And that's what makes it fun for me. It's not just static. I show up every day and do the same thing. Yet it also brings challenges, right? And it can be a little stressful. So skills, and more skills. If you don't know your market, if you don't know what's going on in the industry, if you're just letting the news tell the story, you're wrong, right? You need to be the one out front telling the message of what's going on in real estate. And it needs to be an expert opinion. It can't just be copying stuff from the news or copying stuff from the internet. You really need to know what's going on in your local geography, because that's what people want in a shifting market. Is they want confidence in somebody that knows what the hell they're talking about. So the second thing is to be a great agent. I don't care how experienced you are, you still need to be practicing, right? Practicing everything. So that's practicing your conversations. I mean, as you get more seasoned, you could be interviewing transaction coordinator companies, you could be interviewing staff, you could be, it may look a little different. You may have dialed in pretty well your listing presentations and your buyer presentations, but now you're upskilling in other areas. You should always be looking for talent later on, right? As you get productive and you try to find that window of opportunity to start bringing on when your P&L kind of gives you the opportunity to go out and pay for some leverage, you may want to look at some of those opportunities of, okay, how do I begin hiring? How do I find talent? I should be probably getting resumes right now, even if I'm not hiring today, because I want to practice seeing the resumes. I want to dial in on my job description. I want to hold some interviews, even though I might not ever be pulling the trigger or not pulling it for the next 3 to 6 to 9 months. But I'm going to practice, and my practice just looks a little differently. I think another key thing for great agents is they give back, and they're out there teaching and spreading the word. And the more you teach, the more ingrained you become. Sometimes the more research you do, because you want to get up in front of a bunch of people and sound like you know what you're talking about. So that naturally grows your skills. Networking makes you a great agent. Getting out there with other big thinking type real estate communities or people or masterminds, and getting in rooms that are people that are thinking bigger than you, that are doing bigger production than you, that will help you become a great agent as well. I think the last thing that you really have to do in this case is have a coach. Like, you've got to have somebody that's pushing you. I don't think you'll treat your spouse as perhaps as serious an accountability side as you would an outside coach, right? Those type of things. It's really important that you have a coach that's been there and done that, and they're basically there to push you to achieve what you need to achieve, right? They're also getting you to upskill, things of that nature. So the last thing I would say is study and know the market. I kind of talked about that before. If you don't know your numbers, you don't know the list to sales price ratio, you don't know the number of expireds that recently happened, you don't know just how many listings have come on the market, all of those things are super critical that you have to be able to convey that message to people. So that's your expertise. You can't, to me, you should be able to spout a lot of those numbers off when you go on a listing appointment, because you look much more professional than you do, hey, hold on, let me check that, right? You got to know your comps. You got to know the pricing of the market right now, especially in a shifting market. Like, these are all things that are skill-based that make you a great real estate agent. Too many agents just show up and they wing it on one of the most important components of the process, which is the listing consult. Don't wing it. Go in and have a plan. Know exactly what you're going to talk about. Be practiced and skilled so it just flows naturally. We overlook those things. We don't want to practice like we used to do in baseball and sports and other things like that. We want to just jump right in and assume that we'll be great at it. It's not the case. Go get skilled at those things. There's the saying, it's time on task over time. And the reason that's critical is that you're going to fail a lot of times. And again, that's the time on task over time. You got to talk to 200 people to get one piece of business, perhaps. That's time on task over time. It's not the first person you talk to, likely, that got you that piece of business. So you really have to focus in on time on task over time and just get better at what you do. And even when you're great at what you do, it's still time on task over time. You're not going to call one person and get a piece of business, no matter how good you are. You've still got to reach out to a bunch of people no matter what and lead generate and make that happen. All right, that's my combo on the very basics of how to be a great real estate agent. So if you found value in that, like our channel or this video, and subscribe to our channel, put the comments down there. If you put anything in there, like I want more information around something, like any strategies that we have, put that down in the comments. I'll be happy to share that with you. Thanks.